In a fast-paced world, every day brings new challenges and new opportunities. At Strayer University, we know a thing or two about getting and staying ahead of change. For over 130 years, we've been providing students like you with innovative tools, customized support, and an education built to empower you, so you can find your way forward and always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
Who remembers the BJ and Bill show all those years ago on WOLZ? Well, many have said they missed the show, and guess what? They're back. Welcome to the BJ and Bill podcast.
Good day, everybody. It is the episode number 24 of the BJ and Bill podcast.
I should have gotten that 24. Remember the old show 24? It was awesome. Should have got that soundtrack, with the ticking bong, whatever. Episode 24. Here we are.
And this wraps 24. Up season 1.
Oh, we've decided that it's 24 per season. Is that what we've?
Yeah. So season 1. This is our season finale. Are we going to leave it with a cliffhanger?
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Quick, think of a cliffhanger. Oh, I don't know. I don't know.
Every show wants you wanting more.
Yeah. We'll think of something. In the next few minutes. It's okay. So good morning. How are you?
Not bad. I got my blood pressure up this morning. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But it is the couple of days after the Super Bowl. So I think we need to kind of review and refresh on that. But what's today?
Today,
the day we record is what?
As we record this, today is Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Hope you're with the one you love, or at least the one that you're loving right now. Sounds good. I don't know.
Every morning on Facebook, because I have a lot of Facebook friends.
Yes.
That a lot of people I don't even know, but they're my Facebook friends.
Yes. Don't we all?
So I really go through like the friends that I actually have some kind of acquaintance with. That I wish happy birthday on Valentine's Day.
Happy birthday on Valentine's Day. Yeah, happy Valentine's Day on that. Yeah, anyway.
So I'm going through the names of the people who are having birthdays today.
Yes.
Like I said, I don't know any of these, but there are 3 people in my friend list with the name Valentine.
And today is their birthday?
Yes. Like I said, it was like today's their birthday, and there's 3 of them with the name Valentine here on Valentine's Day.
I'm suspicious. I think those could be, shall we say, stage names.
I don't know. Maybe.
What are the odds, as they say? Now, if they're young enough, and mom, if the baby was born today, maybe you name the baby Valentine. Maybe you do. I don't know.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they were born on Valentine's. So, they're not all first names. Some of them are, like
last name.
There's actually one that's got a last name, but the rest of them have like first name Valentine.
All right. If it's a last name Valentine and the birthday is today, I got to be honest. I'm not suspicious. They're not a criminal. I'm really thinking that that's probably a made up name, a stage name. I know a lot about those.
That's what we're going to go with. Stage name.
A Facebook stage name. It's a Facebook name. You can put any name you want on a Facebook profile. Yep. Including all those, bots.
I just saw that and thought it was a little interesting today.
I might be tempted to reach out to some of those and say, is that your real name? Just for fun. Just for fun.
Yeah. Maybe I should do that. And they go, of course it is. Why would I put it on Facebook if it wasn't my real name? Because you're trying to scam me. That's why.
Because odd as this might sound, people have been known to lie on Facebook. I know it's weird, but it's been known to happen.
I got somebody, and I don't know.
they're doing it, because you can get a text from an email address.
A text. Yes.
You
Okay,
get a
I know what
text
you mean.
message
Yes.
From an email address.
Yes.
Some way, somehow, I'm getting a text message from somebody I have no idea who they are. And so I kind of refuse to talk to them because I don't know who they are.
Right.
And they go, I see you're reading my messages. Why aren't you communicating with me? It's because I don't know. Finally, I just broke down to this because I don't know who you are. They go, we're Facebook friends. And I just never responded. Again.
Yeah, no, sorry. Block. It's a block party. So, and I was going to say, and I'm still going to say it, that the text message spam is now a thing. It's humongous. And it's not so bad on the iPhone. I have a Google Voice number, which I use for business. So I don't have to give my iPhone number. I can give this Google Voice and it just routes. You dial that number and it just shows up on my phone, just like a regular thing. But about 2 or 3 times a week, I'll get a little spam mess. And it's usually just like, oh, hey, hi, how's it going? And I don't recognize the number and there's no name and there's no nothing or whatever. And it's like, yeah, delete. So
that's pretty much what this person. Hi.
Yeah.
Then a couple minutes later, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm great.
And like again, I just kept erasing them, and then I get the message. Why aren't you talking to me? I see you're reading my messages.
Right. You can see all you want, but I ain't talking to you. Yeah, I'm gonna. All right. Oh, yeah. So here's one that just says, "Hey." Literally, it says, "Hey." Where's Alexa? Where's the 276 area code?
What'd she say?
Alexa, stop. In Virginia. I don't know anybody in Virginia.
But you know what's sad though? Nowadays, like you actually couldn't your Google number be from anywhere?
Yes, it can. So
these scammers can get these, phone numbers and email addresses from
anywhere.
I mean, anywhere, yeah.
And that Google number is probably on a Facebook page of mine somewhere for a business or something. Here's another one. All it says is "Hey" from area code 775. Alexa, where's the 775 area code? Nevada. Carson City, Nevada. Wow. Alexa, stop. Carson City, Nevada. I've been there once.
Maybe you have a child there and they're trying to get in contact with you if you've been there once.
I realize it's Nevada and all that, but no, thank you. No.
What happens in Nevada stays in Nevada until you get a text messages 30 years later.
No, but I hear you. I get it. So nice idea, but no. All right. So anyway, you're getting text messages. I'm getting text messages. Most of them are flat out spam and junk. And that's the latest thing where the latest way that somebody can spam you or scam you or something. It's like every time somebody opens up a new way of communicating, the spammers are close behind. Messaging, Facebook Messenger, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, they're out there.
Now, here's what I'm going to mention. I don't know if they want me to mention this or not.
Uh-oh.
But I know this person probably never listens to the podcast. But my daughter, who is actually using, a dating service, those online dating services.
Hey, so am I.
She uses a Google number for them to text her and to communicate with her.
Oh,
okay.
Because
she goes, that way they can't trace where you live, but a regular number, they can trace where you live. At least that's what she told me.
I don't know how you would do that. I mean, you could see the area code, but my cell phone, my iPhone cell phone number still has the area code from Fort Myers because I got the cell phone there 25 years ago and I've never changed the number. So I will occasionally get somebody who will, like a business client or whatever, who goes 239. Where is that? I'm like, well, Fort Myers. I was there 100 years ago. So I don't know how you would trace a cell phone number unless you had a friend at a cell phone company and they might be able to look it up, which would, of course, be breaking all kinds of laws. But I don't know. It's possible, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what she said. She goes, I use a Google number, so, they can't
Yeah.
Figure out where I am.
I mean, that's, and I think that's probably a good number. Anything. What's that?
She said they can trace it or something.
I don't know how you do that, but I'm not an expert.
Because I know pictures also you put on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you really know what you're doing, you can like trace where that picture was taken.
You can do a lot more than that. You can, Google has an image search where you can kind of reverse it. You can upload a picture. And if that picture appears anywhere else on the internet, they'll say, oh yeah, that's BJ Odom. And here's the website it was on. Here's the Facebook profile. So yeah, which is why, back when I taught computer stuff in adult education classes, I was like, okay, grandparents, I get it. Putting your grandparents or grandkid pictures on the internet and all that. But I mean, you might want to think about that. You might want to, be a little more careful about that. Because yeah, people can look up where the picture was, like you said, where it was taken, and a lot of names and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I know we're very trusting with all that stuff. And sometimes it can bite you in the butt.
High tech can be so dangerous.
High tech can be so dangerous. Yeah. And now with this AI stuff, this artificial intelligence stuff, the you can use it for all kinds of crazy stuff, all kinds of things. I mean, it will imitate voices. You can talk to AI for a while, and then it will spit back your voice. I mean, with, your sound, your accent, your everything, which, I mean, who would want to do that for BJ Odom? I have no idea, but
now tell you what, though, you can listen to the AI report on the podcast playground, the same podcast company that, produces and distributes our podcast.
The AI report?
And guess who does it? Or maybe, maybe I shouldn't say. It's not my son, but it's someone that we've mentioned on this show a few times.
Oh.
That works for him.
Oh, Jay?
Oh, you were supposed to say that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why wasn't I supposed to say it?
I don't know.
I'll erase it off the final.
Maybe,
no, I won't.
Maybe he wants it, a secret. Who does the AI report?
And maybe it's
in
not
an
him.
AI voice. It's not in his voice.
I was going to say, maybe it's not him. Maybe he's having the AI actually do the whole podcast. Could you do that? Could you
He's
just
doing
say,
it?
Hey, AI, just talk for a half hour about this subject?
I don't know, but take a listen when we get done with our podcast today. If you're looking for something to do,
I
go
absolutely
to the podcast playground and look up the AI report.
I am absolutely doing that. And by the way, it's the podcast playground.
Right.
Just so you know, the podcast, kind of like it's, BJ and Bill, BJAND Bill. So I'm looking that up. That's interesting. That's so cool.
It's all done with AI voices.
Do you know that for a fact?
Yep.
Wow. I'm going to go listen to that. I'm serious. That sounds super cool.
I've listened to a little bit of one of the episodes, but it's too like science fiction for me.
Science fiction.
But it is cool because he talks, like an AI voice would talk.
But it's good. It's really good, right? I mean, it's not like the old, it's not like those old text to speech things that were like, hi, I'm Bill. No, it's natural sounding. It's good.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to listen to that. Okay. The podcast playground it is. All right. So meanwhile, back at the BJ and Bill podcast, here we are.
Yeah. We got through the Valentines. We got through the spam text. And now it's time for the big news from over the week. Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes.
Where are you on the spectrum? Because I'm going to go directly to that particular thing to get what you're thinking about that crappy call with 1:53 seconds left in the game. Obviously, they would have gotten the field goal. I will admit that.
Right.
But in 1:53 seconds, a lot can be done in a football game.
Yeah, we're talking about at the end there, the called foul, the called penalty for holding, which was kind of, and it's funny because I was just listening to another podcast, sportscaster Dan Patrick was talking about exactly that same thing. And it was pretty shaky. It really was pretty like, what do they call that? Ticky tack. They call that, it's like, I would have rather him let him play. Honestly, like you said, I don't
know that it would have changed the outcome, but it could have, because it would have given Philadelphia the ball back with a lot more time, and they could have, like you said, anything can happen. So other than that, it wasn't like one of the top 5 Super Bowls, or it wasn't super great. It wasn't wow. It was good. It was a good game. It was competitive, and it was all of that. And so there you go. And how about you?
I did see a Facebook post, which was kind of funny. Said, "I'm glad I don't have a dog in the race, or this thing would be very stressful." And I commented back, "I don't have a dog in this race, and it's a stressful football game."
Kind of was.
Yeah, because I mean, it was back and forth, and
that's what it had everything you wanted.
Many years has been like a blowout, or a game was like, oh, but this one was a football game. Well, all of them have been football games, but what you can really say was that was a football game.
It was a good one. It was a good one. Yes. Did you stick around for halftime?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't before, I wasn't after a Rihanna fan, so I can't say it was bad or it was good.
Right.
But everybody's got an opinion on it. It was okay.
I knew literally the one song. I knew the hit, Shine Bright Like a Diamond or whatever it was. And I'm like, but the funny thing was, after the fact on Twitter that night, everybody is like, so here's how they thought of the halftime show. And it was Super Mario Brothers with all the different levels of the buildings that he's jumping between. And it's like, I thought that was hilarious. And there were dozens of posts like that with Mario and the Donkey Kong and all that stuff. It was funny. It was really funny. I mean, it was impressive to watch. It's like, wow, that's pretty cool. The music was, okay, I get it.
Because you and I were older. We're not really into that particular music. Right. So I mean, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't bad.
Right.
But it wasn't nothing that I went wow with.
Right.
But, I'm not in that. Let's go back to that P1. I'm not in the Rihanna P1 category.
Right.
I'm not like, a big fan of that particular type of music, whether it had been Rihanna or anybody else. Well, I guess Justin Timberlake's kind of in that vein. I enjoyed his Super Bowl, show.
Don't remember that one, but okay.
But now, don't most of these performances usually, of course, it did have one other person starring in that role of the halftime show, her little baby that everybody talked about.
Very pregnant.
There was no like special guest, where I'm thinking like every Super Bowl show, I remember at least one or two people that or that genre of music you would know.
Right.
Will pop in to the show, even if it's only like for a 60-second, 30-second line or something from a song that they did, or at least someone that's going to sing along with the person that's leading the Super Bowl show. That did not happen. That I noticed anyway.
No, and well, it would have been hard because there she was floating above the stadium. So I don't know how you would have done it. So yeah, that's true. Now, so one other thing though. And everybody was kind of like, not everybody. I mean, I'm sure some people thought it was great and some people thought, for the halftime show. I haven't heard a single bad word about Chris Stapleton doing the national anthem.
I did see a lot of posts said, why didn't he do the halftime show?
Hello. And the picture and the pictures of like the coach of Philadelphia with the tears running down his eye. And I was doing the same. I'm sitting on my couch watching and I'm like, man, I'm with you, man. That's so awesome. It was awesome. And, they're going down the line of the football teams with the grown men crying and all. He was terrific. He was simple, beautiful, fantastic. You can do it every year, Chris. That's fine. Come on down. The invitation is out there.
He did a great job.
He nailed it. So there you go. So anyway, that's it. You didn't lose any money on it, did you? On the Super Bowl?
No, but I wish I would have made a bet, because I don't know why. I'm kind of always for the underdog. If I don't have a dog in the race, I'm for the underdog. So I was kind of for Philadelphia, thinking that'd be nice to see them beat Mahomes.
Yeah, but
going
in,
like
money.
We talked, I think last week there was at least last week, I think while we were recording anyway, it was a 2-point spread.
Yeah, you'd have lost money if you'd have taken.
I would have made money because they won by 3.
Yeah. Kansas City won by 3.
So that's who I would have went with if I was going to put money on it.
Oh, I thought. Okay, so I thought Philadelphia was the 3-point the 2-point dog.
Maybe
underdog. So you'd have gotten 2 or 2.5 with Philadelphia, just enough to lose it by a half a point, I think. Now, don't quote me on that, you gamblers out there. If you want to write in and tell me how I got that wrong, please feel free. But there you go.
Yeah,
so
if
anyway,
I'd have been a betting man, I would have went with Kansas City.
Yes.
But as a rooting for one of the teams,
you were more Philadelphia.
But in the long run, wasn't the Bucks.
Yeah. It wasn't the Bucks.
Who gives a buck?
Wasn't the Jags. I read a great post, and it might have been, I think I follow him, Trevor Lawrence, the hunky quarterback of the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think it was on Instagram. He posted a picture of him during the game where they were getting beat up like crazy by 27 points or something like that. And he said he ran out for the next series of downs or something in the coming up in the third quarter or whenever it was. I don't remember the particulars, but he says the thing that blew me away, he says, I turned around and I looked back and I looked up in the stands, and he said, nobody was leaving. And we were down by 27 points. Nobody was leaving. And he said, you guys, you fans are the best. And I'm like, that's cool. That's very cool. So good for you. Good for you, Jacksonville Jaguars fans. Duval. So there you go. All right. Awesome. There you go. What else? What else is going on here? You want to tackle this whole blood pressure thing now, or you want to,
Oh, we can do that.
Okay.
My wife and I got into a discussion.
We're changing gears here, folks. So, come along with us for the new home decorating quote of the day.
And now that I've settled down, I'll because she always wins. She always does. It's Valentine's Day, and I hate to fight on Valentine's Day, but we had a big one before the podcast today because she wants to hang the television on the wall. And why does she want to do this?
And you're hearing the crickets because everybody is going, yeah, so
she wants to have more room on the TV stand for more of her little knickknacks. And I know if you have it professionally done, the chances that it falling off the wall are slim to none.
Correct.
But you
worry.
Those TVs, as you get bigger TVs, I have a 70-inch TV. There's just something about putting that on the wall. You're thinking, if I touch it, will it still be there in a half hour?
This is the one thing, guys, where size does matter. 70-inch TV. So the answer to your question is, I don't know. I mean, I know I have a couple of friends that have the hanging TV, and if you do it right, like especially if you can have it wired so that there's an electrical outlet right behind where the TV would mount, there will be no wires. Well, I mean, unless you have cable TV. I don't know if you have cable. I have YouTube TV, so it's wireless. So the only plug connecting to my TV is the power. So, but then my TV is not, we had this discussion before we started recording. My TV is not on the wall. It just would not work in the apartment where I'm at. And I'm not sure that they would be crazy about me drilling holes in their apartment wall or not. But even if they didn't, even if it was okay, I wouldn't do it just the way that my living room is laid out. So mine is kind of catty corner on a little IKEA cube. Everybody's got one, these little cube things that, with bins in the bottom for magazines and stuff like that. So anyway, and mine is great. Mine looks fine. BJ's got me by 5 inches. I only have a 65. So I'm feeling a little, I'm feeling a little inadequate. I'm feeling a little inadequate this morning. I'll be honest with you.
I almost bought a 75.
Aha. So,
but here's the story too behind that. In our old place, where we just moved from, we had a television on the wall.
Oh,
it was a 70-inch also.
So what's wrong with doing it here at the new place?
Somebody would have to do it again. And I didn't. Now listen to this. We moved and I left it there.
You left the TV?
I left the TV and the bracket there because I figured if I start pulling that bracket off, it had anchors and everything else, there wouldn't be little holes in the wall. There would be big holes in the wall.
Big holes in the wall. But you left the TV.
Well, that's because we kind of thought about it and didn't think about it. And then somebody mentioned, well, if we're going to leave the brackets, we might as well just leave the TV. And they asked, like, oh, does the TV come with it? Because we said, we're leaving the bracket.
Right.
So we did say that. And then, when you're trying to sell something, the market's going down anyway.
Yes.
Somebody says, well, what about the TV? Could it stay? And I said, well, depends on the deal we make.
That's
that
right. Dig out your checkbook and let's talk.
It could stay.
Yeah.
Although they gave us a few grand more than what we wanted.
Oh.
But, we were, like I said, the market, when we sold that house, the market was going down and I was getting a little nervous and I jumped on a few $1,000s less. Where we would have held on to it maybe another month or two. We could have got what we wanted.
Maybe.
But see, that's the main word.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
So we got out of it. We're in our new house. So that's closed. And then my wife this morning saying, because we got this big mirror in the office here where I do the podcast.
Right.
We have one of those fireplaces with a heater in it. And in Central Florida, it's a little cold today, people, especially for somebody who used to live in Fort Myers and now lives in Central Florida, where the temperature is about 7 to 10 degrees difference. I wanted to turn on the heater. And I said, dear, we really need to get a handyman or something because it's a heavy mirror. I mean, it's not just a little mirror.
Right.
It's got a big old frame. It's heavy. And, BJ Odom with his muscular status.
Physique.
Yeah. Couldn't really probably put this on the wall.
Right.
So when I said, we need to get this mirror up on the wall because we had it in the other place, above the fireplace.
Right.
And I said, that way I can turn my heater on. But right now it's in front of the heater. She goes, that's when she said, I know, I need to get him in and we need to hang the TV too.
Oh, look at that.
That's where the little fight began.
But good kind of planning on her part to say, oh, well, while he's here, we could also hang the TV. Clever. Good planning there.
Thanks a lot.
You're going to do what she wants. You're going to do what your wife wants.
Yep.
Why are you even arguing with me? Her, us.
Just somebody take a gun and just shoot me and put me out of my misery.
Put him out of his misery. Shoot me now. I hear you. That's funny. That was a sitcom on TV, wasn't it? That was Shoot Me Now. Just shoot me. Just shoot me.
Just shoot me now.
Yeah. David, what's his name was in that, I think. Yeah. Good memory, Bill. But no, that probably wouldn't go over so well nowadays, would it? That's one of those ones that, as they say, didn't exactly age well.
Yeah.
We're not doing gun references in TV show names now. So anyway, all right, fine. So this mirror, is it like one of those I've seen now, the reason I ask is, does it need to be put on the wall? Or I've seen in some bedrooms where they'll just stand it against the wall, kind of angled up. So when you stand in front of it,
it's got a big old, it's really antique looking.
Antique.
I don't think it is antique, but it might be.
Okay.
It might be made to look antique, but it's a big old mirror with a big old frame around the mirror.
Right. Oh, so it's it's not a square or a rectangle?
It's a rectangle, but you know those little fireplaces, that people put in their homes that are fake, and you can have the little flame and you have a little heater in it and things like that.
I got one.
It's the size of the fireplace.
Wow. Okay.
And then, put it above the fireplace. Looks nice.
That is going to weigh a heck of a lot more than a TV. I'm guessing it's probably a lot heavier than the TV. So don't, if you're okay with mounting the mirror, you should be okay with mounting the TV. I'm just saying.
Right.
I know.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll mount the damn TV
and mirror.
One
handyman stop covers the job.
Maybe have them do a couple curtain rods too. I'm not good at hanging
curtain rods too. There you go.
How much time we got? Because I got a couple things that I was going to bring up on today's show.
Let's take our break now, and we'll come back, and then you can dig right into your extensive list of goodies there, right? So
one of them is about your favorite topic. Well, one of your favorite topics.
Pizza?
Pickleball. Close. Starts with a P.
Starts with a P. Awesome. All right. We will cover all the pickleball news and everything else that there is to cover. In the meantime, if you'd like to get in touch, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to email us at BJ and Bill Podcast. Remember, that's you're spelling out the AND and BJ and Bill Podcast at gmail.com or on Facebook. And I see bunches of posts, bunches of comments. So thank you and keep up the great work at BJ and Bill Podcast. The group on Facebook. Just navigate over there and find out. But in the meantime, go refill your coffee, and we'll be back in just a few seconds. Welcome back. I'm Bill Stevens. That's BJ Odom. This is the BJ and Bill Podcast, episode 24. Oh, and we said this is going to be the season finale of the first season of podcast.
This is our season finale. Season 2 will start next week.
We're not, no break or nothing, no summertime off. We're hardworking radio dudes here, and we will be back next week, but we just wanted to kind of break it up a little bit. So
we'll be right into season 2 starting next week.
Wow. Bigger and better than ever. Just wait, folks. Just wait. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to hear this pickleball news.
Okay, pickleball was named after the inventor's wife.
I thought it was the dog.
Nope, it was the wife.
Tell me
named
more.
It after now listen to this.
Okay.
She named it after the pickle boat. You know what the pickle boat is?
No idea.
It's the last boat rowing team to come in a boat race. You know those rowers that row?
Yeah. Like the Olympic guys.
The last place rowers, the lazy people,
are pickled.
Are pickle boaters.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm going to Google right now, and I am putting in pickle boat. All right, a pickle boat. Oh, and it comes up pickle boat crew. A pickle boat. All right, I'm reading this. A pickle boat is rowing is a thrown together crew, sometimes drawn at random from available rowers. Pickle boat means something entirely different in sailing, where it is the last boat across the finish line. In sailing, the last boat.
But
see,
a pickle boat, it's kind of like the last people picked. Those are the people that play pickleball. Those that were the last people to be picked.
For all of you kids, I'm not saying this was my experience, but I'm still in therapy over it. For those of you kids who were the last ones picked for the basketball or the softball or the whatever team, pickle boat. Got it.
Pickleball is for you.
Kind of is. Pickleball is for everyone, BJ. We don't differentiate. Everybody loves pickleball.
I should be playing pickleball myself now reading this.
Awesome. Well, so you're saying then, therefore, you're saying that the guy knew about the sailing thing or the boating thing and then used
the wife did.
The wife did. Oh, so
that's why she said, well, let's just call it pickleball after the pickle boaters.
I
heard this on, not everything you hear on television is true, but I heard this on one of those, I think it was one of those, what do they call those? Magazine shows?
Oh, yeah, like Entertainment Tonight or something. Yeah. Honestly, this is the first time I've heard that. That doesn't mean it's wrong, but it's the first time I've ever heard that. Now, I've never heard of pickle boat in rowing. I'm not a rower or a sailor or any of that stuff. I'm, me and I could swim. So I don't know that. I don't know it's wrong, but I've never heard that before. So I'm going to have to do a little research on that, I guess. Do a little more Googling.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There's a cliffhanger. Get back.
Tune in next week, folks.
Next season.
Episode number 1 will be the big reveal, just like on The Bachelorette or something like that, right? Oh my goodness.
Now, speaking of those those magazine type shows?
Yes.
I don't know, but I think Access Hollywood, whoever plays Access Hollywood, they could be getting a big old fine as far as I'm concerned. I haven't read anything about this, but I heard it.
Oh, heard it through the grapevine.
No, I heard the actual episode.
Oh.
I even forget what they were talking about, but last week I was watching Access Hollywood.
Right.
And somebody said the word, which you're not supposed to use on broadcast television, but you can use on cable and you can use on podcast. The word was shit.
On TV, on broadcast TV.
Access Hollywood. It was on the NBC affiliate in Orlando. Someone said the word.
Somebody said the S word.
Yep.
So when you say in Orlando, does that mean it was just the local thing, or was it?
Well, it was on Access Hollywood. I don't know if anybody
that's
else.
A national show.
Yeah.
Oh, you're saying you were watching you were watching it being broadcast by the Orlando TV station.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't know if it's something they were supposed to catch. I don't know if it's something that they should have caught when they produced it and post editing and sent it out. And it was like one of last week's shows, and I forget exactly what they were talking about, but he said that, I mean, maybe I misheard, but it sounded so much like he said the S word.
Right.
That I was shocked.
Okay.
I go, oh my God, they're getting a fine.
Yeah.
But maybe that word, you can say it now. I don't know.
I don't think so. No. Now you got me doing it again. You got me Googling it again, but I don't. How do you look that up? How do
I know.
How do you
Google? I wouldn't
Yeah.
say unless someone got fines, they probably want to keep that as, oh my God, we shouldn't have sent
quiet
that
as
out.
they can. Absolutely.
It went out and it was, oh my God, maybe no one will, because the only way you do that is like someone has to write a letter to the FCC.
Yes.
And they have to say, I was listening to, I'm not even going to say the name of the program again in case somebody's listening to me.
Right.
And the station, number, the station call letters it was aired on.
Yes.
And say, I heard them say
the S word.
And then they do the research.
Right.
And then you can get nailed.
Yes. Well, it's got to be on videotape somewhere. So yeah. I'm not finding it anywhere, but like you said, it's probably not something that anybody would really, but I mean, I would still imagine it would be out there somewhere, but I'm not going to really worry about that. So
maybe my old ears misheard.
But you don't know who said it. You don't know.
I can't remember who said it. It was about something. And he said,
right.
And I heard, maybe I didn't, but I swear I heard the word.
I get it. I mean, I've heard nowadays with all of the live stuff going on. I mean, I remember, golly, BJ, remember back in the radio days when you and I were on the radio that, when you were doing calls with people and everything, you had that 7-second delay. So, people could say nasty things and you could bleep them out and nobody would ever hear it. And it would be a great thing. Nowadays, everything's live. It's like, if something happens, and I've seen that a couple of times. That's another sporting thing that we didn't talk about. LeBron James, of course, became the all-time NBA scoring leader. And they interviewed him after the show. Thankfully, it was like at midnight because he was playing in Los Angeles, Eastern time, midnight. He said the F word live on TV.
But
was
it on ESPN or was it on TNT? Because again,
cable.
Both of those are
cable TV,
cable companies.
I'm sure it was
have the same rules.
That's correct. And I'm sure it was, of course, one of the cable, ESPN or TNT, because that's who covers basketball. Still, if I'm ESPN or TNT, if I'm the producer or the director, I still don't want that on my airwaves because it's going to be a bad reflection. I feel it's going to be a bad reflection on me. Now, what am I? I'm a 66-year-old old fat white guy. So what do I know? So
I think if you're
maybe not.
I think if you're a big basketball fan,
I am.
And you're again that P1 with the basketball world.
I'm close.
I think you would accept that.
Accept the F word
at midnight.
at midnight on cable TV?
My opinion.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'm torn about it because as an old radio guy, golly, imagine that. As an old radio guy, I remember you and I being very careful about the language we used because, again, our P1, the people we were talking to were parents and families and kids and all of that. And again,
they would have their kids in the car. And that was one of our big promos that we would do. Have the kids in the car. BJ and Bill are completely safe.
Completely safe to listen to. And that was our hook. That was our thing that we could tell people that, you're not going to hear something that you're going to be embarrassed explaining to the children. Yeah. Mommy, what's he talking about? No, never mind, Jimmy. Ask your daddy. So I get it. All right. I guess I'm getting too old for this. Go ahead.
Now, I don't know if you'll remember this or not.
Right.
But remember, sometimes we would take calls live and we did not have the 7-second delay.
I do.
Do you remember the one time we got a word that shouldn't have probably got on the airwaves and how I handled it?
I don't. Tell me.
Let me give you the topic. Maybe they'll help refresh.
Okay.
Cures for the common cold. I had a cold or something like that. And I said, what's your family,
right. Cure for the common
recipe to get rid of a cold?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I remember this, but when you tell me what happened, I might.
And somebody, we got like 3-4 calls, like, whiskey, things like that,
right.
Lots of sleep.
Right.
All of a sudden somebody calls and goes, and I'm going to say it on this show only one time, but it's a podcast. Their exact words were, and I can't believe it because I don't even say this in my comedy act, but they said, what'll get rid of the common cold? Go out and get some pussy.
Ooh.
And all of a sudden I quickly cut them off. And my words were exactly, I don't know how a cat could cure it, but if that's what you think, I guess that's what you.
What a good catch, by the way. What a good interception there by BJ Odom live on the radio to be thinking on his feet like that.
I slammed that, well, that's the volume knob. It was on a slider. You'd slide it down, you'd turn it off. I slid that thing down about 100 miles an hour and I go, I don't know what having a cat would have to do with getting rid of the cold, but if that's what you think, I may have to try it.
Brilliant. The man he's still got it. That was 30 years ago. So
yeah, I wouldn't have that probably. He would probably said 5 other words. But
yeah. What? Yeah, I hear you. That awesome. I now that you say it, of course, it's like, yeah, I probably, was cringing over that. So yeah, I get it. But yeah.
Oh, I think we both were. We were both going,
of course.
Oh my God, we're going to go off the air. We're going to get, fined. We're going to get killed. We're going to get called into the boss's office. It's all done.
Wow. And we survived. We survived to broadcast another day.
I don't even think anybody, usually some things will happen on the air and you'll pass like a salesperson in the hallway or your program director.
Yeah.
And they'll make a comment like, shouldn't have done that, or why did you do that?
Yeah. What the hell happened?
No one, or someone even say, I can't believe someone said this.
Right.
We didn't get one of those comments. So that was.
We didn't. Yeah. No, I remember we kind of skated on that one and it was like.
You remember it now though?
Yeah. But I also remember what you said was that everybody must have been listening to something else at that moment because nobody in the building ever said anything about it that I remember.
Or maybe they didn't want to say anything either. I don't know.
Maybe they were like, okay. I'm glad that's over. I'm glad we got that over with. Thank you very much. Whew. We're still safe for the most part. For the most part, we're still safe. So,
of course, this was like in the 70s when I was first getting into radio.
Yeah.
I worked at a radio station in Indiana. And back then it was even saying something off the wall like that or in a sexual, fashion at all. You would it was just as time went on and Howard Stern came along, things, at least were more acceptable.
Right.
But back in 1974, 73, things weren't very acceptable. No one ever really called me out on it, but it was my poofa, that came out of my mouth. But one of the biggest things in Indiana back in the 70s was basketball.
Of course, still is.
And the high school tournament at the end of the season was like humongous.
Of course.
And so my line was coming out a little bit later today. When they come out, we will have the sectional pairings. That's the sectional. That's the tournament.
I hear it coming.
I had people call me and said, let me in on that. Coming up at noon today, we'll have these sexual pairings. And it was, I wasn't planned, didn't try to say it. It's just one of those things that come out of your mouth and you go, oh my God, what did I just say on the radio? The phones lit up like Christmas tree. And they'd go, I want in on those sexual pairings.
I want to be the number one seed.
And I was hoping nobody's going to hear this. Please, nobody heard it. Nobody just kind of. And then the phones, like I said, lit up like Christmas trees. I'm like, oh, I'm dead. I'm fired. I'm gone.
But here you are. So obviously it was okay.
No one in management came to me and said anything different, but I thought I was a dunner because that was back in the day. You wouldn't even like joke about stuff.
Oh,
like
no. Oh, no. Oh, yeah. That was, that would have been. You were a couple of years ahead of me
we'll
on that.
Have the sexual pairings.
Sexual pairings. It's kind of like wine and chocolate. Yes, it's a great thing. That's awesome. I love that. And that would be super funny today. If you did that, I don't know if you could do it in a rural Indiana, but if you're in a big city on the radio or something like that, and you would plan on saying it that way. You would, coming up later today, the sexual pairings. I'm sorry, did I read that wrong? The sectional pairings. That'd be worth it.
That would be more than exceptional today. Yes.
Yeah, it wouldn't even raise an eyebrow today. It would. I mean, you might get a couple of grins or a couple of little hee-hees or something like that, and no big deal. But yeah, back 90. Wow, 70, 74, 70. What'd you say? 74.
I got it. Well,
I was a junior in high school in 74.
I got into radio. Well, I was a senior in high school. I graduated in 74.
Right.
And I got into radio kind of like my son, pretty much in high school.
Right.
But, it was out of high school when I was in full-time radio, but I can't, it was somewhere between, I'll just say this, it was somewhere between 74, probably and 77.
Okay. Yeah.
Because then I think I pretty much kind of moved out of the area, trying to get that bigger and better job. But I never will forget the day I said that on the radio. Did you do any?
I'm trying to think if I did, but I mean, I was my first serious, well, I shouldn't even say serious, was not until college, until Ohio University. And I was actually, I mean, I was a news guy for a while, so it was very scripted. You had the news, so I was reading from a script for the first year or so, and then after that, the college AM, we had an AM and an FM. The AM station we were an NPR affiliate, so we did the local version of like Morning Edition. Now they have Morning Edition on NPR stations, but we did the local version of that. So I did that for a couple of years, but it was pretty tightly scripted and watched, and somebody was going to hear it. So you were really, really, of course you're young and you're a college student and you want to make a good impression. And it's like, oh, I want to be a star someday. So anyway, to answer your question, I don't really think I screwed anything up. Now, I will say that I had that they would bring in. I was like in the BJ and Bill show, it was BJ and Bill Stevens, the news guy, the sidekick. Well, I was the main person in the morning, and then I had a sidekick to either read the news or be there. And I had a young lady with me for a while, and I've listened to a few of those air checks, and I was the most sarcastic SOB you ever heard. I mean, it was like, oh my God. And I don't know who listened or who cared or whatever back there. It was a little college AM radio station. But anyway, it was fun and I enjoyed it. But no, I never said anything nasty that I'm aware of, although somebody will probably correct me someday.
Now, speaking of those type of deals.
Yes.
And you were a newsman, so I would say along your career, this happened to you more than once.
Try me.
The news was serious, right?
Always.
Didn't want to joke around with the news.
True.
So did people ever do anything to you while you were reading the news as far as, make faces?
Oh, no. It was
Do
better than
something
that.
stupid?
It was way better than that. I worked the first quote unquote real job out of school, out of university, was a friend of mine who had graduated a year before me. He was a roommate of mine at Ohio University, and he graduated a year ahead of me, and he was in the exciting big city of Owensboro, Kentucky, which is on the Ohio River, just down the river from Cincinnati, and most famous for its giant manufacturing facility for Red Man chewing tobacco. And we had a AM and an FM radio station there, and it was the hot hits, kick-ass, flamethrower, AM rock and roll, kind of a thing. And I wasn't the only guy it happened to, because this guy, it was his MO that he would come in, and the studio, it was a big studio, it was like the room like you and I had. I mean, it was bigger than that. It was kind of like it had all sorts of things going on. And I think the transmitter was whatever, long story. But the guy would come in, the morning guy, the wild and crazy. Hi, everybody. The wild and crazy morning guy would come in while I'm reading the news, literally take the Bic lighter out of his pocket and light the script on fire in front of you as you were reading it. Literally set fire to the paper in front of you on the air. And you're going, you're trying to keep quiet and smack it and stuff like that. All kinds of, it was fun. It was crazy. It was a good place to work and to learn. But yeah, we had a wild and crazy crew there. It was fun. I don't know, man. I guess there's nothing to do in Owensboro, Kentucky, but that kind of crazy shit.
No, I remember trying to light people's coffee on fire.
Oh man,
reading the news. I remember that, but I don't even know if I should say this. This was just.
Now that you've said it, you got to say it. So
remember, I was young. And dumb.
We were all young and dumb at once. Now we're just old and dumb.
So the guy that would read the news would take over the board from me.
Right.
Then I would take the board back after, they read the news.
Right. Right.
There's the news that is the news that was the news,
right.
All serious. I don't even know if I should say this.
The guy's probably long gone.
It was a guy that I did it to. And if you did it today, you could probably end up in jail.
Oh.
But the meters and stuff you had to look at back in those days to make sure everything was in whack,
yes.
As far as the transmitter.
Do the meter readings, yes.
Was right in front of you.
Yes.
So you had to do like a little step up because all the wires were underneath that little step up.
Okay.
So the guy is reading the news at the board. Little step up. If you let's just say this. If you step up on the step up, your groin area is probably pretty even to the top of the board.
I hear this coming from a mile away, but finish the story.
So I took a cup, put it on the board. Water and electronics doesn't work. So I'm glad, that I didn't, I'm glad I had a good aim that day.
Right.
But as he was reading the news, I filled the cup.
Unbelievable. When was this? How long ago was that?
That had to be back in the 70s too. Somewhere in that 70s.
So you unzipped right in front of him.
I can tell you the newsman's name, and if someone knows him out there, I know he's one of those guys who's been in radio for a long time too.
Sure.
Tony Capicelli.
Wow. There can't be a whole lot of those out there.
His father was a professor at the university St. Joe College is where it was.
Okay.
In Rensselaer.
Okay.
WJCK was the station.
You have a good memory for that stuff. Well, I mean, you always remember the funny, crazy stuff. So I probably
could have got you in jail. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that was probably the craziest, dumbest thing. But when you're when you're young and dumb,
Young and
stuff
stupid.
is hilarious.
It was funny at the time.
And he lost it too, if I remember right. He did lose it on the air.
I know I would. Hello. So BJ, that I got to admit that I have heard. I think I've heard all your stories, but I've never heard that one before. So that's amazing that you're still going to remember and be able and have the guts to share it.
There's a reason why I've never told that story before, really, when you think about it.
I'm sure the statute of limitations has long since expired on whatever crimes were involved there. So yeah, you're probably okay.
One of those stories you want to tell people, like especially your grandchildren. Hey, back in the day when I was in radio and the man was reading the news, and I brought my little man out, and we I let him drain right in front of the newsman.
No good way to say that, is there?
No, there isn't. There is no good way to say it. You know what? I'm actually gonna. I think I used to. Like those people that you show up on your Facebook feed all the time.
Sure.
Haven't seen it for a while, but I'm gonna see if Tony Capicelli is still on Facebook, and he's getting tagged on episode 24 of season 1, and hopefully he'll take a little listen to that story and, remember I don't know, would you call those the good old days?
Wow. I'm not so sure about that one, but it's definitely the old days. I don't know if they're good or not. Well, they were for you. You had fun at the time, but him, not so much.
Well, he'd do weird things to me. I mean,
I'm sure.
He never did anything that, like when I'm, on the air or whatever, but
right.
Come to think of it too, JCK was probably that same board, that same desk is where I said sexual pairings too. I think that's where
history.
That's where basically the beginning of my radio career, a little station in Rensselaer was called WRIN.
Uh-huh.
And then there was an FM that came to town.
Right.
And, that's when FM had never really kind of been heard of, and it was just getting started.
Right.
In fact, it originally played beautiful music, and then it, started playing like what you'd call adult contemporary.
Yeah.
Soft rock.
Yeah. They all did that.
That's when I was there. It was probably a year or two after it went on the air. And Tony Capicelli worked there as the news guy. And I was one of the, actually, believe it or not, nowadays a jock usually works like 4 hours, 5 hours, and they're done. If I remember right, I worked from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Straight through?
Yeah, straight through. Now,
as on the air every day? I mean, 5 days a week?
Monday through Friday, yeah.
Wow.
But now I do know, again, speaking of Tony Capicelli, at noon, and that's probably when it happened during the noon hour.
Right.
He would take it for you do like 30 minutes of news, then there'd be like a farm report in there that came over. I mean, so the whole noon hour, I really kind of had off.
Right.
But
that was your bathroom break, unless you were peeing on Tony.
Yeah. Usually, it was a small town, and we were the station was out in the country. So you didn't really go to town, I don't think, and got food. Maybe you did.
Right.
But I kind of just hung out at the radio station.
Right. Awesome. That's just awesome.
Get hold of Tony and see if he remembers.
I couldn't, except for my buddy who got me that job. Shout out to Kent Jones, who had, no kidding, the longest, most successful radio career I think I've ever known of somebody personally. He went from, and I don't remember the call letters from the station in Owensboro, but WOMI. No, that sounds wrong. But then he went to St. Louis, and he was at the oldie KOMO or something, a very famous Clear Channel. And I don't mean the company. I mean an AM radio station that you could hear for 1,000 miles. He was the morning guy there for like 25 years. He was there forever. And then he retired, and he and his wife moved up to the Northwest somewhere. And I said, what are you going to do? And he said, I don't know, take it easy for a while. And he's already back in radio up in the Northwest there somewhere. So Kent Jones, shout out to Kent Jones, wherever you are, my friend. A great radio guy. I mean, one of the best I've ever known. Well, probably the best I've ever known on a personal basis. But yeah, he's terrific. Big market guy, big market sound, big everything, smooth as glass. All those things you hate.
Yeah, last I heard of Tony, he was in Indianapolis, so he never really left the Indiana area.
Oh yeah,
he was in Indianapolis, Indiana, and then of course you remember this probably because you were a news guy. The big thing, if you were a news guy in a little local town, you would send a story into AP.
Oh yeah,
the AP wire was where you heard that ticker in the background.
You bet.
And it would kick out the news. It would actually type out the news. He worked in a little station called Crown Point, Indiana, and you would see his name constantly on the AP wire for submitting stories.
Right. That was when that's a whole nother story for a whole nother day, perhaps, because we only have a couple of minutes left. But when I was in college, we had that AP wire that was in the back room somewhere in the soundproof booth. I think we had like 3 of them, because you would have one that was world and national news. You would have one that was like United States, and then you would have one that was regional, for Ohio or wherever you happen to be. And yeah, that was when you were a young student reporter like I was. That was the greatest resume builder, and the greatest thing you could do is that, oh my God, there's been a fatal accident out in Athens County somewhere. Let me write it up. And you would send it to the AP bureau in Columbus, and it would have your name and your station call letters on it at the beginning with the story. And you were tearing that thing off and saving that in a scrapbook.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was the greatest thing. I probably still have a couple of those somewhere if I dug around somewhere. I'll bet you I do. Yeah.
And then of course you get some people, and then that always made you feel good. Maybe from a large market that would call and go, "Oh, I see you have this story. Could you give me a little voicer on it? Just read the story."
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah. I did that. Of course, when I was before BJ and Bill, I was in Phoenix, Arizona at an all news talk station for a while. KFYI. News every hour, bulletins at once on the talk station, 910 KFYI. Yeah. Yeah. We found, in the middle of our ratings slump, we found this unusual character named Rush Limbaugh, and we put him on the air, and ratings success was ours. But yeah, we were a CBS radio news affiliate, and I worked the weekend shift for a long time before I got hired full time. I was Saturday morning, like 6 to noon or something like that. And if anything happened, the phone would ring and it would be CBS News New York. Oh my God. That was you would like, "Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir?" And he's like, "Same thing. You got a story going on out there. Can you read it for me?" "Yes, sir. Absolutely." And then you would listen to the CBS broadcast and you'd be top of the hour. Oh my God. I have one of those on tape. I have one of those on a cassette somewhere, which I have got to put on digital, where you would get to say you had the honor and the pleasure of saying, "Bill Stevens, CBS News, Phoenix." And you would go, "Oh," and they paid you. They sent you a check.
Now, as a jock, I didn't have that many of those, but like if something really big would happen, and you knew the news guy wasn't around or whatever, you would like fly out to the radio station. And I was one time, same thing you did on CBS, but
yeah,
the Mutual Broadcasting Network.
I was on all of those. I mean, when you're in Phoenix and something big, that's a big city. So, I was on CBS, I was on Mutual, and I was on CBC, Canadian Broadcasting. They sent me a check in Canadian dollars. I had to have it, turned into US dollars. It was awesome. But yeah, those are the glory days. When you're a reporter and the network calls you, those are the memories those are the memories you keep forever. See, I spit that one out like crazy.
Now, in your early days, because we talked about, the AP wire, which was like basically a typewriter.
Yes.
That would type automatically and type out the stories.
Yes.
It always was a pain in the, if you had to change the ribbon on that sucker.
Or the box of paper.
But we actually, when I was at my first radio station, WRIN, the AP machine was in the newsroom.
Yes.
And the newsroom is where, like, at that station, time for the news at noon, here's, Russ Martin.
Right.
And he would be in the little newsroom, and in the background,
oh, sure. That made it perfect.
Oh yeah. You have that teletype machine.
Oh, believe me, there were stations I was at where the teletype machine was not in the room, but we put it on a loop and we played it in the background, so it sounded like it was. That's how cool that was. Oh my God. Now see, now you're getting some good memories there with the old news stuff.
And then they got those then they started getting those ones went. It was like, what would you call it? A laser printer, maybe?
Yeah, so it would just.
And that just ruined the whole thing.
Yeah, that ruined the whole thing. Okay. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, episode 24, season 1, winding down. Unbelievable. We didn't come up with a cliffhanger. What do we?
No.
I mean, how do you top peeing in a cup? I mean,
yeah, I should have said, join us in episode 1, season 2, where I shall pee in a cup. Maybe we can reenact it, and I'll see if I can crack Bill up, because we do this on Zoom. We see each other. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. There's my desk.
I got $20. Says your wife says no freaking way.
Turn down a little bit. Maybe I just do it that way. So you. Really
all right, sit down, big boy. Sit down. Put it away and sit down. That was almost an X-rated Zoom call, folks, but thankfully it didn't go that way. Didn't go that far.
Oh man, I tell you what, the first thing I'm going to do though.
Yes.
Well, the first thing I do when I get off this the podcast, I'm going to look up Tony Capicelli, see if he's still on Facebook, and say, "You've got to listen."
You absolutely
episode
do.
24 of the BJ and Bill podcast. You, my friend, became a piece of history.
Legend. That's right. You do have to do that.
And I know if there's anybody in Indiana who listens to this,
right?
That knew me back, in my early high school days and things like that. They will know Tony Capicelli.
I think I got to tag my old buddy Kent Jones too. I don't know if he listens or not, but if he doesn't, he should. So I don't know if I want to put him through the whole Tony Capicelli story or not, but I think I want to at least give him the shout out. So there you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap on season 1. It doesn't mean we're taking any time off. We'll be back next week with season number 2, and it'll be bigger and better than ever. Trust us when we say that.
New episode every Wednesday, and we do beg, plead of you, if you would please like, subscribe, share. That's how we get, more people listening. And believe it or not, we work on a commission basis, which basically means the more commercials that play on this show,
right,
the better possibility we have of making more money for us and the company.
The happier BJ and Bill will be, and that means everybody's happy. So there you go. All right, everybody, have yourself a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday. But up until then, it's just up to Mr. Odom to say,
see ya.
In a world that's constantly changing, you have to move forward to change with it. At Strayer University, we see you striving to work harder and go further. That's why we provide you with the tools you need to get there, like offering a brand new laptop when you enroll in a bachelor's program, so you can do your coursework anytime, anywhere. Because our greatest strength is helping you unlock yours, so you can always keep striving. Visit strayer.edu to learn more. Eligibility rules, restrictions, and exclusions apply. Connect with us for details.
Judy was boring.
Hello.
Then Judy discovered ChumbaCasino.com.
It's my little escape.
Now Judy's the life of the party.
Oh, baby, mama's bringing home the bacon.
Whoa, take it easy, Judy. The Chumba life is for everybody. So go to ChumbaCasino.com and play over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+ terms and conditions apply. See website for details.